have the pleasure of sitting down with Charlie, aka Cheeky Charlie, if you know him, if you're watching he starred in the recently Netflix series Too Hot to Handle season 6. How are you today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, Ricky. To be honest, when I saw your beard, I was like, I need to chat to this man. He looks so interesting. So I'm just glad to be here.
Look, I'm going to be real quick and I'm going to be honest with you. I talked to you a little bit about this off the show, but my wife and I watch the show together. So once she hears that she loves the beard, I have the beard for her, you know what I mean? So once she hears that it was the beard, she's going to be like, I told you you can't shave it. It's the beard. You know what I mean? So
You got to keep it.
exactly. All right, Charlie, before we dive into the show, what were you kind of doing prior to coming on the show?
So I was an economics student actually for 3 years before any of this stuff. So I was studying economics, working alongside my economics degree as a bouncer as well. So I used to do security at nightclubs, bars, McDonald's, everything you can imagine. I literally did all kinds of security working just to get some money whilst I was an economics student. And then right off the back of my economics degree, I got offered a modeling contract. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather put on pretty clothes than put on a suit and tie and go work in the city. So I went and became a model, and then was just getting developed really. And in that time, I just got approached for the show. Lana hit me up in my DM. So I was like, right, let's jump on that. And now Bob's your uncle, I'm here. So it's been a weird journey. And definitely Charlie 2 years ago would not be expecting to be here. But, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So you obviously have the previous modeling experience, but what was kind of going through your head when you're getting ready to be on the camera for the first time? Meet the fellow castmates. What's going through your head right then?
You know, I'm I'm pretty confident in myself, to be honest. And like I've been making TikTok videos for like 4 years. Like I started making videos in 2020. And so, I was pretty confident in my ability to speak. And I was like head boy at my secondary school. So I'm used to public speaking and being out there. So that definitely wasn't something I was nervous about. And I think like doing security for 3 years as well, I started as an 18-year-old, it definitely aged me. And so, I wasn't worried about going in and feeling like young or like any of the guys were going to have anything on me. Cause, like I say, I've had enough time to be confident in myself and kind of prove things to myself, So I just went in there with a lot of confidence really. And, just knowing who I was and, just see it. I was just eager to get in there and get chatting to the girls, basically.
Exactly.
But I did
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job about that. You know what I mean? I think you did a great job. Obviously, when you hit the show, this is the first time you guys really knew what the show was. Obviously, in the past, we've had, you were surprised. Everybody was surprised. Oh no, it's too hot to handle. You guys got an idea of it being too hot to handle, but then of course you find out about Bad Lana here in the first little bit that you're there. What's kind of going through your head in that moment?
Well, to be honest, prior to going on the show, when it was like open casted and we were told that we were going on Talk to Handle, I immediately knew that obviously there was going to have to be some kind of format change. And I think that's what kind of appealed me so much to going on the show. I was like, yeah, they're going to do something different with it. It's going to be interesting. The Bad Lana thing, I definitely felt like I was getting called out on a bluff because I was talking, in these pre-interviews going, yeah, I'm the biggest player. I'll get all the girls. Yeah, you don't want to see me in a nightclub. And then all of a sudden it's like, right, Charlie, go on then. And I'm like, okay, great. I've got to show you what I've got. And so definitely when I heard about Bad Lana, I was like, right, I've got to make the most of this like time because it definitely isn't going to last. And so that was kind of just what went through my head. I was like, right, I've got to try before I buy whilst I can. So that's just what I went for.
And not to put you on the spot here, but you did try before you buy. Obviously, we see you get a little bit of a pickle early on. We had a love, not a triangle. I mean, we had three ladies.
Square.
Square. Yeah, there we go. Square. We had a love square for Charlie. Um, every everything will eventually come to a head. But was the strategy to kind of play the field to get a vibe for maybe who you wanted to, approach, or were you just kind of having fun?
You know, in that situation, I think I went in and obviously like Lucy and Katherine were both my sort of top two. And then I just sort of like had the opportunity with Kylisha that I just capitalized on. But, I just went in there and I was like, look, I'm on a dating show, on a reality show. Like, I'm just going to have some fun with it and just get to know the girls in like the way that Cheeky Charlie would. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I just went in there and I was like, look, I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to just play around with it. And if I feel like I can kiss them, then obviously I'm going to kiss them. Do you know what I mean? But to be honest, that that mentality isn't something that's any different than what I would do in normal day-to-day life. You know what I mean? I'm going to go into, like, say I go into a nightclub. Yeah, I'm going to be cheeky with the girls. And if I feel like I can kiss them, then that's what's going to end up happening. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just, you know, the uni mentality that we've since grown out of going on the show. It's okay. We growth. Let's get to that stage of the combo, please.
Exactly right. Exactly. We had some growth in the show. Obviously, what I think early on in the show, we get the big announcement that you and Bree were going to be kicked off the show. When you have the process from processing that, hey, you're being kicked off to the time that obviously you find out you're going into these banishment quarters, kind of what's going through your head in that moment?
I mean, I know there's a lot of speculation with these reality shows that they're kind of scripted and faked and whatever, but that moment there, when I was told I was going to get kicked out, oh my God, I was like so gutted. And it was so like real. And I was there and I was just like, this is it. I've come on Netflix and embarrassed myself by kissing three girls and getting kicked out on the first day. Literally, I was there. I was like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. And then, you know, me and Brie were walking down. She was crying, bless her. And I was sort of saying to her, I was like, don't worry, Brie, like, it's all right. We're gonna just have to make the best of this. Do you know what I mean? And then when we saw Lana at the end of the walkway and she sort of like tells us that it's not over and we're going to banishment, I think initially we were really happy and really relieved. But then we got into banishment, spent a night there, and we were like, fuck this is awful, you know, because we went on Tour to Handle to have fun, flirt, be in the sun, you know, it was like a holiday. But, you know, being stuck in that room was just the complete opposite of the experience that I signed up for. And I think, you know, looking back on it, the whole kicking me out for kissing three girls on the first day, sending me to banishment, that condensed the whole of what Too Hot to Handle is about, learning from your mistakes, into one day. And so I feel like I really like learned from that immediately. And that's why when I came back in so single-minded and, you know, trying to just get the girl and just be good and settle down. Obviously it didn't work out, but like that's how I intended to come back in after it, you know?
Yeah, we can see that obviously because you don't come out being like, all right, I'm going to try to get with Katherine. I'm going to try to get Kyle. No, you were singly focused on Lucy, and you kind of had to work your way back into the kind of good graces there. Was
I
that
just
obviously
sacked my
some?
way back in, you know what I mean? Just sacked my... But yeah, no, I think like looking back on that, it was definitely not the right move. I should have gone back in and still explored my options, but in a more like respectful way, maybe. But I think what happened for me is I just looked at them both and I was just like, I think I was already leaning towards Lucy beforehand just because of that familiarity and, you know, us being from the same country and having things in common and stuff. And I just felt like they'd put her in there for me, to be honest. And then, you know, I think going back in, I just sort of went off that hunch, which really, looking back on it, is something that I shouldn't have done. I should have explored my options, but in a more respectful way, you know? That's what Lana should have taught me, but instead I went at it the wrong way, like I typically do, right?
Instead you get sent. So obviously the banishment quarters, they looked very I don't know, I'm going to say claustrophobic, you know what I mean? Was that how it felt being inside there?
Big time. When you see me singing the Juicy Lucy song, that's not me having fun. That's me going insane. I'm there and I'm like, Lucy, your lips the other day, so okay. Like literally driving myself nuts. The singing wasn't just that. That's what they've shown you. I was singing for hours. You know, I was like, oh, get me the fuck out of here. We didn't have any windows in there. You know, it was a real experience, you know, and you know, it was definitely something that like marked my Too Hot to Handle experience. And I think it's something where like I gained a completely different insight than you know, all the rest of the cast members, obviously with Brie. But yeah, it definitely felt the way that it looked for sure.
There's one thing that I've always been interested in the show. When you guys obviously break the rules, when you're all sitting down in that like Cabana era, is that as nerve-wracking as it appears when we're watching it?
Yeah, it's a really tense environment. I mean, every time anyone breaks the rules, it is a lot of money that's going. And I think that obviously different people have different, you know, respects towards that money and stuff. But I think that in that moment when you're sat down there and no one's talking about it, and it's like, you know, we all know that money is going to someone, it is actually a really tense environment. And people do really grill you for it. And it's not just in the cabana you get grilled, it's afterwards and everything like that. And so they are a very tense environment. And I think that's why people don't always open up straight away. It's just because like of that fear of facing what's bad. And I think on that note, my reflection on the show is that you have to be honest, even in times when it's going to give you bad things back. Because I think I wasn't honest with Lucy to avoid, getting confrontation. I wasn't honest with Kat about the Sabrina thing to avoid confrontation. I wasn't honest about rule breaks to avoid confrontation. I think sitting here and actually being able to watch that back, it does make you realize, and you can take that perspective away from it, which is definitely something that I've noticed actually being able to watch it back.
We had a nice little twist. Obviously, the season was filled with twists, but obviously, we see two cast members come back from the past. What was that kind of like environment like for you guys?
Well, when we found out that they were coming back, we were stuck in banishment. So at first it was like, what the fuck? They brought these lot back to replace us. Do you know what I mean? But once we actually got back in there and met them, I mean, I have like mutual friends with Louis on the outside and stuff. And, like I got on really well with Louis and Flavia both. And I think, to be honest, they just integrated their way in. And it was actually quite nice to have people who were in the process who had done it before and things, because we were talking about all sorts of stuff, that they were able to give us advice on, not necessarily just retreat related, but like life stuff,
You talk about watching it back a little bit. Let's talk about you watching back that infamous shower scene.
Oh, what with Lucy?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, look, I think. What do you want to know about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it happened. It wasn't my proudest moment for sure.
For sure.
But also, like, I'm just showing you what's here. You know what I mean? I'm not going to push it. Like, that's one thing with me on the show, and I'm really happy that I didn't do this whilst I was in there. I didn't push anything. I let Lucy know, like, when we were in bed, I don't care about breaking the rules. I let her know there, pulling the trousers down. Like, I'm here. I don't care. I'm not going to stick it on you and force it out of you if you're not going to give me that energy back. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's kind of like the way that I view that watching back. And to be honest, like, you do get one chance to see my penis for the first time. So give me a good reaction. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Help a brother out. Help a brother out.
You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. I don't disagree. I feel you. I feel you.
yeah.
All right, let's go spit up a little bit of positive. Obviously, these workshops, I find these workshops, some of them I find hilarious. Obviously, there's another one that we're going to talk about in a minute that I really felt that it was really good. But in this one specific workshop, we kind of see you and Katherine connect on a whole nother level, right? Was that kind of unexpected for you?
I think that obviously there's a lot that's not shown. And I think that a couple days, like maybe a day or two prior to that, I'd already started to feel like there was something missing between me and Lucy. And me and Katherine were like not having conversations and flirting or anything, but I was just getting energy off her that I really liked. And I just think that I was starting to find her attractive for sure. Like, I always found her attractive, but I just started to find her attractive on more of a human level rather than just a aesthetic level. And I think that, I was having those kind of thoughts beforehand, and then being paired with her in that workshop was really an opportunity for like us to actually connect on that deeper level. And it was really a special moment, like making me look in a mirror and open up about myself to then, and look, and it's weird because you're looking at yourself and you're talking to yourself about who you really are. And that's a very personal thing in itself that I've never actually done before then. And I really felt like I was opening up to myself, which is something that is really hard to do, be honest with yourself. And to then drop that mirror and be faced with her after she's done the same and opened up about herself, you really both just have this like, true look in your eyes. And that's why she said, I feel like I'm staring into your soul. And, she could tell that I was a good person. And I saw the same in her. And I think that in that moment, I was really able to see like a completely different side to Kat. And I found it really attractive. And, that is what ultimately started it. And, that moment was so special to me. Like, that idea of having that eye contact and feeling that way. I've actually since written a song about it. It's coming out on August the 16th. It's called Her Eyes. So you can stream that one when that's out. But, like, that moment was really special. And it's something that, started our entire relationship.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the fascinating things because we see on another workshop, we see that there is a very big vulnerable version of all of you guys, all of the guys in the villa. And that's obviously the message from your guys' moms. Watching this is really kind of beautiful to see because on the show, obviously, too hot to handle. It's just a bunch of dudes and a bunch of girls that are trying to, get together, right? but there was a vulnerable side, a beautiful side to each of you guys. How was that entire thing for you? And then what was kind of like the vibe with the guys after it was kind of over?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a very like real experience. And being in there when we were sat in the boxes and we were told, you know, your mums are here, whatever, we're all like, what? Our mums have been flown out. Like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? That was kind of the initial instinct. But then obviously getting to hear everyone's mums, it's a very humanizing experience when you look at people and remember that they were a baby once and that they come from a mum that loves them and things like that. And I think having that moment with all of us, you know, really definitely did bond us, and seeing everyone's baby pictures and stuff. And it puts people in a different perspective. You know, when you meet someone's family and you see where they come from, and then all of a sudden you just look at them in a different way. And I think that's kind of what it did for all of us with each other, but also with ourselves, you know, going out to tour to handle, not having contact with the outside world. It's quite easy to get lost in the moment, but then hearing that from our mums was definitely something that was very grounding and, you know, brought me back to reality a bit. And also hearing what my mum had to say specifically did actually really resonate with regards to what was happening between me, Lucy and Katherine, and the decision to go to Cat. And I think it just affirmed that that was really the right move for me.
That's not the last time that you were kind of tested. Sabrina enters the fold to challenge you and Catherine. Outside of the massages, what kind of made you pull the trigger to kind of stay away from that temptation?
You know, I knew going onto that retreat, although I said 99.7, I knew going onto that retreat that, no, going onto that date, sorry, that I really liked Kat. And I knew that, like, okay, I wasn't going to actually do anything to like hurt her because I genuinely didn't want to do that. And now after that experience of lying to her and hurting her that way rather than by kissing her, you know, that kind of showed me again how I just don't want to hurt this girl. Like, I do genuinely care about her, and I haven't since, you know, like lied to her about anything. I've been really honest and open and trusting, and I think that's what makes our relationship so good now. But I think it was just, you know, it was just that knowledge, and the knowledge that there wasn't really a physical connection or an instant connection I could have with someone that was going to top what had, you know, kind of been cultivated over the entire experience between me and Kat. And so I think I just kind of knew that going in.
For sure. I do love that the 99.7 moment. That was it was
You know, I honestly forgot I said that. And then watching it back, I was just like, oh, you dork. Like, why have you said that? Literally. But, you know, that was, again, just me being authentic. Like, the whole way through the process, I was completely myself. Like, and you know, that was me just being authentic. And, you know, being an economics student, I'm crunching the numbers. I'm like, all right, let me not say 100% because you can't say anything with 100% certainty. You know what I mean? And it was just me being a bit silly because really I should have thought about it and been like, let me just actually reassure this girl. You know, that would have been the right thing to do. And, you know, learning curve, learning opportunity, growth, like that's where we're at now. You know what I'm saying?
exactly lots of growth. Obviously, we talk about it as a songwriter. We have to talk about the infamous breakup song by Joal. It was kind of an instant classic. Everyone kind of told him it was a bad idea. How funny was that moment? Like what we don't see, we only see like a moment where he kind of plays the song for her, but then plays it for you guys. Like he thought it was a great idea. What was kind of going on
It
there?
was hilarious. Like watching it back, and you know, I'm so glad they gave me the close up of my face just to watch back because I just remember looking at him like, what? Like literally, what are you doing? But you know, it was actually hilarious, and you know, I kind of in some ways understand why Joao ended things with Flavia because I think he ended things with her because he wasn't ready to take that to the outside because there was clearly a trust issue and because I think there was just like other personal reasons maybe why he didn't feel like he could continue a relationship on the outside because I don't think any of us went in there looking for a relationship, you know, and I think that was very authentic of him and he was very true to himself to do that. But you know, I prefer to use music to, you know, create and express love. I wouldn't necessarily in that moment write a, you know, give her a breakup song. But once again, that's just Joal being Joal. And I got a rate that he did that. You know what I'm saying? But it was definitely a hilarious moment to watch back. And like to be there and have him singing it to us in that moment and us just be there like, you've not just done this to her. Like, oh my God, it was iconic, literally.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated his confidence in coming back to you guys, telling you what he did. Not only did he tell you, he's like, "No, let me play this song for you." Like this was a great idea. It was
Oh,
fantastic. I love the confidence.
I love Joel. The look on his face after he played it for us. He's like, yeah, that was me. I'm just like, can't believe it. Honestly, it was fucking brilliant. It was so funny.
It was. So as we get towards the end of the show, how cool was it to kind of have that full circle moment with Bree and end up in that final four, considering you guys did start in the banishment quarters together?
No, it was so precious, and there's so much to like mine and Bree's friendship that you guys obviously don't get to see, and like that time in banishment was definitely a very bonding experience, at the start, and I think because we were told in there if you do anything together, it's going to get kicked out. It initially put us on platonic terms, and I think having our stories kind of run in parallel with each other and being able to help each other through things throughout the process to then being in the final, with Bree, it was definitely like a full circle moment, and I was there, and I was definitely felt like, yeah, we're in Lana's good books at least, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was definitely a full circle moment, and like obviously I don't like the money, but like I'm really happy for Bree that and Damari that they managed to get it too. You know what I mean? Like they're completely worthy people to lose 100 grand to.
Right, exactly. It's like, man, I really like them, but that was a lot of money to lose to them.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But also like, can't cry over the past because I'm happy where I am. You know what I
For
mean?
sure, for sure. Maybe what's something that was not shown that you wish would have been shown?
Um uh it's hard to say. I think just the friendships between everyone. Like there were so many moments between all of the guys and the girls and stuff that were just like really good friendship moments. And me, Louis, and Chris would rap constantly in that house. Like Chris can beatbox really well. He goes like dum, 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 dum. And me and Louis were just there going bar for bar, just freestyling with each other. And I think there was definitely some like precious moments in there. And I almost wish that they'd have given us some just so I could have them to listen back to because they were actually really fucking good. You know what I mean? But I would say, yeah, just the friendships between everyone. Like, obviously, it's a dating show, and they focus on that side of things. But the friendships with everyone was really strong.
Yeah, they're like release the rap, so maybe Charlie could make some music out of it, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
literally,
Like,
literally.
all right. What can you tell us about Catherine?
About Chatherine. All right, so
Yes.
Chatherine is going strong. Also, I can tell you this: Katherine hates the name Chatherine. I'm like so for it. I came up with it, so I'm Team Chatherine. Catherine's trying to make it a Team Carly thing. Carly, spelled Kharlie. So I'll let your viewers debate whether over which one of them's better, Chatherine. But like, yeah, Chatherine's going really strong. It's been a while now. I've been over to go see her twice. She's been to see me, and I'm going to go back over to America this weekend actually to go and spend some time with her, which I'm really excited for. And like our relationship is so trusting and loving and wholesome, and it's completely not what I would have expected to come off the back end of this show, specifically, especially like the way I went into it and the energy I brought into it. I wasn't expecting anything like this. So, it's really precious. And I think the things that you need come at the times when you least expect them. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to relationships, you can't look for them because they just don't come your way. And so I'm just really grateful for her and the relationship that we've got. And, she's a very special girl. And there's so much to her that isn't shown on that TV show. The same way there's a lot to me that wasn't shown on that TV show. And I think after the show, like I took the time to really get to know her all over again on like a personal level away from the cameras. And I think that that's something that I'm really grateful for doing, especially now that, there's attention on us and stuff, because I just feel really secure and comfortable in the relationship. And I think that's what you need, especially in this situation that we're both in.
Yeah, I mean, especially as somebody that watches it, it's early on you see kind of a Charlie that goes in with the mindset of I'm just going to do whatever to a person that kind of comes full circle and is securing a relationship. You know what I mean? Obviously, all we see is in it condensed into like 10 episodes, but I know this is over a lengthy period of time where there's a lot of things we don't see, but it was kind of cool to see that growth, which the question to you is how do you feel like being on the show changed Charlie the person?
I think when they did that workshop, the final workshop, and we all picked our words, my word was awakening, and I sort of reasoned that by saying that I came in with very closed mind and closed eyes to the fact of myself maybe like committing to a person and like being in a relationship, and I think part of that maybe is because of ego and because I thought like yeah, there's no one who can hold me down and whatever, but meeting someone that kind of feels like a match to me is definitely something that helped. And I think that she ultimately is a big part of like how my experience changed. But I think ultimately, like when I look back on it, a massive takeaway for me, especially watching it back, is about like honesty. And I think that's something that I definitely could have worked on when I was in there, you know what I mean? But and like keeping less secrets and being less secretive, you know, which is currently a work in progress and stuff. But there are so many takeaways from that, you know, even believe it or not, being more confident in myself now. You know what I mean? I had 3 girls fighting over me on day 1 on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? If there's something to learn from that, it's that he's the man. But but you know, that was definitely like a takeaway, and just the honesty, and just, you know, being able to just be in a relationship. Really, there's so much growth that an experience like that gives you, and I'm so grateful for it, and I feel like I'm a better person for doing it, for sure.
How has the obviously watching it back, family watching it back, you know, everybody watching, how has that reaction been for you, and how that's been for, you know, Charlie the person?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy, to be honest, with the way that I portrayed myself, because I just went in there as me, and I was like, okay, when I watch this later on, I'm just going to watch this as it being me. So I'm going to go in there and be me. And I really feel like you guys did get to see me, you know, with the banter and like the chat up lines and all of that stuff. You know, there was a lot of me that was shown, in my personality. And, you know, that I can only be grateful, because there's so much that gets cut out. And I'm glad that that did come across. You know, my family obviously didn't love watching me kiss a bunch of girls, but like at the same time, I think my mum was there secretly going, "That's my boy." You know what I mean?
For
So
sure, for sure.
yeah, she's definitely proud of it. But yeah, it was a great experience to watch it back. And you know, I'm now at a stage where, okay, I've lived it, had time, watched it back, and now I'm ready to move forward with my next ventures. And definitely, I think that includes, you know, exploring my music further, because I've been a musician for 10 years and I want to continue pursuing that, modeling, more TV opportunities. You know, I've really enjoyed this, and I hope it's something that, you know, can lead to more stuff in the future for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That was going to be my final question. It's kind of what's next for you. What are you kind of hoping to see in the next chapter of Charlie's life?
Yeah, well, I definitely want to continue my relationship with Kat. Obviously, like she's such a special girl. I'm really grateful for her, so I want to continue that. Modeling, obviously, I've been doing for over a year now. It's still something I'm pretty new to, but I want to carry on with that because I do genuinely really enjoy it. I would be so down for more TV opportunities, and obviously, I'm going to continue to push my music. Got my first song coming out August 16th. Her Eyes. Go look it up if you're watching now. It's going to be fucking awesome. Trust me, I've heard it. And so I want to, you know, keep pushing all of these avenues, and I don't want to limit myself to everything. I want to anything. I want to do everything, because that's just what I've got in my blood and in my body. So, you know, I'm just excited for whatever I end up doing.
Charlie, this it's just been a pleasure. I loved you on the show. I loved your personality on the show. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Ricky. I appreciate it.